Happy Saturday, beautiful collective. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you and all the energy that you contribute to this awesome channel and our beautiful community of light. So, without further ado, my name is Storm and I'm going to be doing your reading today. I am a psychic medium, among other things. So, I do things a little bit different on this channel. I tend to channel a lot of information. I am in the process of learning tarot. However, I'm not fully confident with it yet. So, I will be bringing tarot into the channel, but sometimes I do intuit a lot of channelings, and other times it's more micro bursts of cards and information coming through quickly, so it can change throughout each reading, or it can be very consistent. It depends on the day. Depends on what Holy Spirit has to say to you today, or on any given day for that matter. Yeah, so if you're new to tarot, please use your discernment, tap into your intuition, only take the messages that seem to fit to your story. Leave the rest because they likely belong to somebody else's story. A message might be completely for you. It may only have bits and pieces for you. So use your discernment, okay? Yeah, I think we're about ready to get started. Yeah. Okay, I've pre-shuffled all the cards as per usual. I also have called upon my spirit team, tapped into the collective energy, and we are all set to go. Pardon me. All right, Holy Spirit, what is happening in the collective right now? What is happening in the collective right now? Oh, okay. Got the sun. I'll show those cards to you in a moment. What's happening in the collective right now? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna take that one. Journey. Okay. What is happening in the collective right now? Please and thank you, Holy Spirit. That one. Okay. Appreciation. One more card, please. Oh, okay. And there it is on the floor. Hostilities. What? Okay. All right. We're going to have to get a little more clarity on that one, but these are our cards. The sun. I'm going to sit down first. Journey. Appreciation. And hostilities. Okay, so what I'm hearing immediately is there's new energy, new light being breathed into breathed into the collective. I questioned that for a second there, like, is this the right word? Is that how you say that? How weird. Um, There's new light and new energy being breathed into the collective at this time, helping you along your journey. And there is with this new energy that's coming in, there is this newfound sense of appreciation for the journey that has brought you to where you are today. So I'm getting that many of you have been reflecting on the energy of the past, and that you are appreciating even all of the difficulties, or at least you can see how far you've come, regardless of what difficulties you are experiencing currently or the experiences that you've already had in the past. So it's going to be dependent on where you are on your journey at this time. But if you're not doing this, this is a sign that this is what you should be doing, is taking some time with this new energy that's coming in and see how far you've already come, either in the last 5 months or the last year or the last 2 years. Like, who were you a year ago? Who were you 6 months ago? Are you different? Because if you're different and you see things different and your understanding is different, Spirit's really coming through to say these are things that you should be looking at if you haven't been already, to gain momentum in your own energy and momentum in your own forward movement in your path, because this is going to give you a sense of appreciation for the path that you've been on, this journey, right? And what's still to come, because again, you could be at the very beginning of your journey, you could be further along, and so there's, regardless of where you are, there's always some new aspect that's going to come into your life, a part of your journey that is still being developed, right? Still being created by you. So a level of appreciation is going to come from this reflection, from this looking back at how far you've come, right? And this new energy is going to really help you with the illumination of that. Like, I'm seeing this light post here and it's illuminating the path, right? So for some of you, this is illuminating the experiences in a different way so that you can find appreciation for even the most difficult things that you've experienced along your journey, to understand better how that has shaped you and your understanding of the world around you. For others of you, I did get that this light that is coming in is to also help guide the way towards the path, so towards your next steps, kind of thing. And for others of you, it's kind of like your guiding light, like this energy boiling up within you, or at least not boiling up within you, but it's now coming to a head in a sense that it is radiating out of you. That's a better way of putting it. Thanks, Spirit, for that. Um, and it's radiating outward to your environment, so to the world around you, and people are going to start noticing this. And not only that you're going to be radiating this light, but you're going to be noticed and appreciated even more for being more authentic, or allowing that light to really, making the space to allow that light to really enter you, which will then, give back to the world, right? Every time that we work on ourselves bit by bit, we are doing our part to heal not just ourselves, but the world and the collective, right? So there is this new level of appreciation coming through. Now, I've left this hostilities card because there's two different streams here that are coming through of consciousness that I'd like to share. And one of them will need some clarity. We'll get some Kipper cards. But for the first stream of consciousness, there is an appreciation, again, for all of the difficult things that you've had to overcome in your life, whether that is difficult, hostile people or difficult, hostile situations or environments that you've been in. Looking back at where you came from to where you are now, there is this, how do I put that? There is this recognition of the types of energies that have been in your life that you've allowed into your life. So for those of you who've been on this path for a while, on this journey for a while, and you've been doing a lot of this work, cutting out everyone and anything that no longer serves your highest good, um, there is, yeah, just this massive amount of appreciation is what I'm feeling. And it's funny, when I tapped into the collective, right away I started feeling this, like, overwhelming sense of love and appreciation and adoration for yourself or for the journey itself that has brought you here, right? And Spirit wants you to know that this journey is not over. There's still much to be learned and experienced, and your true journey just begins when you finally begin to forgive and heal those who have caused you pain, including yourself for the decisions that you've made, right? But that's when you have cut all these ties and you have purified yourself, this is when the journey truly begins. Is um I lost that thread there for a second. Hold on. Can you bring that back online, Spirit? Oh, yeah. And there will be an appreciation for going forward for those of you who are there for any other types of people or situations or hostile environments that come forward into your life, because you'll have a better understanding of how to deal with those situations without losing yourself or without engaging in them or like shutting them down or blocking them to begin with. Because this journey is about the journey back to self-love, right? And when we find who we truly are at our core and we become our authentic selves, then anything on the outside of that, in the outside environment that may seem hostile or used to seem hostile is generally doable. It's generally seen before it can even affect you in any way, shape, or form. And because you've developed so many skill sets along the way, like resilience, strength, discernment, your psychic gifts and abilities, your ability to tap into your empathy as an empath to feel people's energy. Um, you'll avoid a lot of these situations already. Now, for others of you on your path, there is a need for illumination as to what these hostilities are about. And so I'm going to grab the Kipper deck quickly before I turn these cards around. And I've pre-shuffled these, but I've been asked to do it again. All right, Holy Spirit, can you tell us more about these hostilities? Is this a person? Is it about a situation for those who are operating on this stream of consciousness here? What are they dealing with exactly with these hostilities? Oh, okay. We've got marriage. Do you want me to keep distant horizons? Okay. I heard that this will apply to some people, but not all. Okay. So it looks like there is likely for some of you who are resonating more with this stream, who aren't farther along on their path. Maybe you're just beginning on your path. This has to do with some sort of separation. You don't necessarily have to be married to somebody, um, but it does seem as though this is relationship wise. This could be with a romantic partner, but it could also be with a long-term relationship within your family. However, what I am getting is that there is a longer journey ahead for those of you who are kind of just starting to figure out um, what truly matters to you, I heard. So there is this sense of appreciation for the path forward, and there is new light coming in, kind of illuminating the way for you. And that's what I'm seeing with the sun is that there's new energy coming in to help you get onto the right path, right? Which is why all of this light is illuminating her path. And so there is a need in your sense for the appreciation of what comes into your life to open these doorways to you or to teach you or to show you different aspects of what the journey is truly about, or maybe different opportunities to open doorways to perhaps leave a situation that you're not happy in, where you're feeling like there's a lot of hostility or anger or betrayal, resentment, the ABUSE word. Um, I'm going to try not to say words like that too much on this channel just because I don't want to get flagged. So but yeah, whatever it is for you that you're dealing with, it seems like for some of you, this like the end of this situation may be further away. That's what this distant horizons card is really about. Like you might be, what I'm getting is that for some of you, you're at the very beginning. Maybe you haven't even left the situation yet. And so if it is a divorce or something like that, it may take a while. It's not like you can just leave, right? And well, you can leave, but it's not like you can just leave and be done with it all if you're actually legally married to somebody or you're in a legal contract with somebody. And this could actually also have to do with work, I heard, because we did touch base on that yesterday. We channeled into something, or not yesterday, the day before, about a work situation for somebody, maybe a business partner or something like that. Anything that would have to do with any kind of legal contract. There may be hostilities between you and another person, period. And so the dealings of these contracts may take a while, or your journey might take longer than you. I don't want to say that word, spirit. Okay, they're telling me to say it, so I'm going to say it. Fantasize about, right? Because sometimes we need to be pulled down into reality. Like sometimes we think it might be like a lickety split kind of deal, and we're all done with the situation. But with legal contracts, they want me to point out it can take longer. And so having some sort of grounding into reality around that doesn't mean that you can't uh, how do you want to put that, spirit? It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen and that you should get discouraged because you see the anchor going down towards the ground here in the distant horizons, right? So they're asking you to get grounded in reality, but at the same time, project what it is that you want to happen and how you want it to happen. But because this grounding energy is coming through, it's important to realize that the law operates in a certain way and that contracts work in a certain way, and not to not to get discouraged, but also not to allow yourself to um, be persuaded more into delusional thinking about it, right? So there are hostilities involved in whatever separation this is, whether it is a romantic relationship, a marriage, or a just a partnership dissolving of any kind, then there is a little bit of work ahead for that to finally resolve itself. But um, the sun is here to bring you onto the path to do it. And so this is kind of a message of encouragement, hence this appreciation card that there is um, divine support available to you at this time for making these decisions and these choices, and that you should accept this energy, accept whatever support you are receiving from the divine or from source, from the universe, whomever you like to call your creator, and ask for assistance or clarity or next steps. Quiet your mind, quiet your body, regulate yourself, and ask your divine team for next steps because the energy is here. And you just need to get aligned with that path, right? You need to make a decision. You can see here that there are several different signposts here. And so she could go in any of those directions, right? And all of them will eventually result in some sort of some sort of ramification or consequence, positive or negative. But she could go in any direction and choose. But she's standing there before the signpost, looking at it, going, I'm not really sure which direction to go in. So it seems as though there may be maybe too many decisions at this time. And so you may need more clarity. And this, I'm hearing, applies to everybody at this time. So if you are about to make a decision, on something or a direction that you'd like to go in, whether that is leaving a certain situation that is not healthy for you, or whether it is what is your next step on the journey to creating the life that you want, then regardless, it's important to take some time to appreciate what has happened in order to shape and form you into who you are at this very moment, and allow these directions to speak to you on an individual basis. Allow them to, with each choice that you have, I'm hearing, allow yourself to meander down the path into the future to see how you would feel or respond in each situation in order to help you make a better decision. So will the path that you're thinking about, the choice that you're thinking about doing, will it lead to your inevitable freedom? Will it lead to your happiness, to joy? Will it lead to abundance? Will, you know what I mean? So explore the different avenues regardless of what situation you're in at this time. Okay, so for others of you, though, I did also hear, sorry, I did also hear that this is just to do with a relationship. Um, so this distant horizons does apply to those who are still within a relationship that may not be serving them at this time, which may be toxic or harmful. And so, for those of you who have already left toxic situations or people behind in the past, there may be some sort of contracts that you're finalizing between you and your ex, or between you and a business partner, and maybe you're reaching kind of the end of this situation, but it feels as though it's going to go on longer and longer and longer, and they're just coming through um, to say that it's just the final jump, skip, and what was the last word? I don't jump and a skip before you break the chains. Okay, so yeah, so for those of you who've been in this situation for a while, maybe you're dealing with some of the stuff that's still going on. They're coming in with support essentially, and appreciating yourself and where you are in your dealings with this situation, showing some appreciation and gratitude for the situation itself, because the situation of back and forth and negotiating and doing all that is actually strengthening you in the end, and it's showing you what you're truly made of, and it's also revealing maybe where you have weaknesses, I heard. So um, it's allowing you an opportunity to view yourself in a way that allows you to strengthen maybe some of your weaknesses and take charge of your own life, while not, focusing too much on the hostilities or on the situation between the two of you, or between the situation that you're in, but to instead analyze your own behavior while interacting with this, because if a person is showing up in this energy, in the hostilities energy, then it's likely they're never going to change, and so a level of acceptance for that at the same time as analyzing how you react or behave is helping you to manage your emotions better, to manage and strengthen any weaknesses that you may have and shore them up, like close up the gaps so that you're way stronger when this does end, regardless of where you are in the situation. All of this is happening for you, not to you. And so doesn't matter where you are on this timeline, it's all happening for you. And the sooner that you can change your perspective on that, then the easier it is to overcome it, right? To heal from it. And all of these opportunities that come into our lives are, you know, they're there to teach us lessons. They're there to strengthen us, to show us the way back to ourselves, back home to source, right? And without darkness, we would never have the light. Without, negative experiences, we would never know, or negative people, hostile people, we would never know or learn the lessons that we need to learn in order to never manifest these kinds of things again. And sometimes, the price or the toll that we have to pay in order for us to learn certain lessons can be very heavy. It can be very, very steep at times. And so that's part of it, is that um, it becomes steeper and harder and heavier when we don't learn the lesson the first time, right? And so the increase of this lesson and the toll that is needing to be paid to learn this lesson or to get out of situations becomes heavier each time. And so the universe will eventually step in and hopefully show you something, or make it hard enough that you never want to repeat this mistake again. So it ensures that you learn your lesson one way or another. But of course, everybody has free will, and not everybody chooses to exit out of situations or lessons, right? And so then they're stuck in a karmic loop. But that is the way it works. So hopefully, each individual understands their role in how to stop this karmic cycle. Okay, let's see here. What does the viewer need to know about this situation, Holy Spirit? Let's get this deck here. Is there anything else that the viewer needs to know about this situation, Holy Spirit? Okay, I'm hearing you can move on. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I guess I got a lot out there. Usually in the first few cards, a big channeling comes through. So, okay, we're going to move on to this deck here. So, what is it that is blocking the viewer from moving forward right now? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay, this one. Losing yourself. Okay. What's blocking the viewer right now from moving forward? Oh, is that one? Okay. You want the top one or the bottom one? Okay. Oh, I mixed these up. Yo, storm. It's all good. All good. What else is blocking the viewer from moving forward right now? An appreciation. Whoa. Hey, that was a lot of cards. I'm gonna take the single one on the floor. Okay. Most of these are landing on the floor today. I shouldn't say most. It's not true. A lot of these. Touch, okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put these in order of coming out. Okay, so we've got losing yourself. You feel lost in your partner. It's okay to be yourself. Have your own life too. Okay, so for some of you, this can go one of two ways. So either you're in a relationship where you have lost yourself, or you've gone through this spiritual journey, this path, and you have shed after even being in a relationship or a situation with a person like this, where you have lost yourself already. But then you've shed a whole bunch of your ego or your original identity, I guess. And on the way through that process of shedding your ego and shedding the different parts of you that are no longer going to benefit you in the future, you tend to lose yourself again. With each ego death, you go through this experience of losing yourself. And so I think for some of you, who have been on this path for a while, and maybe you've just gone through a spiritual awakening and you've had a part of your ego die off, the part of you that does not serve you any longer. The sun is coming in to illuminate the aspects of yourself that you're being asked to look at. Remember, she's looking at the different options and different paths. So, this is about now, rediscovering the parts of yourself that are still there, that are your strengths. What are your strengths? What are you good at? What do you like to do? Maybe you're not sure. And so this is more of a self-discovery journey, right? And the appreciation for the journey itself. For others of you, you are in a situation where you are feeling or you do feel as though you have lost yourself within that relationship or just lost yourself, period, whether it is platonic or romantic. And so it's really important for you um, to review how the situation that you're either in currently or just exited has created this, right? Where have we given our power away? Where have we given our autonomy away? How did we enter the situation and feed it in a sense, right? Because every relationship, whether it's in business, whether it is with a friend, whether it is with a coworker, whether it is platonic or family member, every relationship has two sides to it, and we all need to take responsibility for our energy and our input, right? So we need to uncover how it is that we showed up that allowed us to eventually get to a place where we did lose ourselves, and what were we giving away? Were we over giving? Were we over explaining? Were we allowing toxicity into our lives or to be treated a certain way? Or did we allow somebody to have control over us or our thoughts? And even if it was, something that you were unaware of happening, like if it wasn't in your consciousness that this was happening, say like with mental or emotional abuse, then that's fair. But now you do know, from what I'm hearing, many of you who are in this situation, you have an inkling that that's what was happening. And so now it is your responsibility, now that Spirit has come in over time to illuminate different aspects of your journey and different aspects of your life. It's now your turn to take control over that, right? And so this losing yourself happened for a reason, and the lesson is to learn what the reason is, right? So this may be a lack of understanding at this time how both sides contributed. And so a lot of information or a lot of energy or blame maybe being put on one aspect or person where spirit's trying to illuminate for you the different aspects are that are within that you can take responsibility for now, which will then open up new pathways to exit certain situations, right? But it's all about taking micro steps to illuminate different aspects of ourselves along the journey so that we can learn the lessons before we get to advance, right? Before spirit goes, okay, here's a new door open. We have to learn these things. And so this is blocking one, maybe more. I'm not sure who this applies to, but this is blocking some of you in the collective right now. And so whether it is within a relationship currently, or whether this is on a spiritual journey where you're feeling lost because you're not sure which direction to choose, because you're not sure of who you are anymore, then it's time to explore what this is trying to tell you and where it is or how it is blocking you, and take responsibility for that and make changes, right? For others of you, we've got getting crumbs. So clearly, um, this would be blocking, obviously, this would block people. If you're used to getting breadcrumbed, if all you're used to getting is crumbs, doesn't matter whether you're in a relationship currently where you're being breadcrumbed or you've just been conditioned to believe that that's all you're worthy of receiving. If you're further along on your journey, then this conditioning itself, this belief itself, comes down to whether you feel worthy to receive more. And if you don't feel worthy to receive more, then you cannot hold that vibration of abundance. You cannot hold that vibration of receiving what you truly deserve or your spiritual inheritance. And so there's a belief system here that needs to be addressed and looked at because it is blocking you from your abundance, or it's blocking you from seeing opportunities, or it's blocking you from concisely making decisions and choices that are aligned with your highest path. And so, for some of you, regardless of what situation you're in, whether you're currently in a relationship where you're being breadcrumbed or you have exited, you're being asked to look at how you view what you're worthy of. And are you worthy of love? Are you worthy of of money? Are you worthy of abundance or success? Are you worthy of healthy people in your life? Are you worthy of your freedom? Are you worthy of being happy or feeling joy? You know, like along my path, I realized that I had been conditioned to self-punish myself every time that I would start to feel the slightest inclination of joy. And that really saddened me. But it was a big wake up call for me to really assess how I was breadcrumbing myself at that point. Because, yes, although I was conditioned from childhood to believe that I was unworthy of receiving anything, then now it became my responsibility now that I was aware of that, right? So you're being asked to look at where you feel unworthy of receiving, and whether or not what you're getting or receiving is what you truly want, because you may be manifesting breadcrumbs, right? And so this is something to look at. And if you're still in a situation where you are receiving this, then you'll never be able to manifest more because you're tolerating it, which tells the universe, hey, I'm okay with receiving breadcrumbs. So yeah. Right? So we need to look at it holistically, and from a very compassionate place, because many of us have been raised as children to accept breadcrumbs, right? And so you'll hit lots of these blocks along the way if you've experienced situations in childhood that were very disruptive or toxic or unloving, unnurturing, narcissistic, you know, all of these things. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up, but instead start to remove the blocks rather than looking at your weaknesses, right? Just address one block at a time as it comes forward, as you realize it, as it's illuminated on your journey. All right, for some of you, you have this card, Love Sucks. And again, we are talking about, for some of you, this situation between you and a partner, or it could be anything or anyone. So take it as it resonates for you. But we are talking about love. And again, your experiences in the past, I'm gonna like shatter the illusion right now. Those experiences you've had in the past with said person, people, friends, family, that wasn't love. Let me just say that again. All of the experiences that you had that hurt you or caused you any kind of discomfort or disease, that wasn't love. And I'm not talking about a minor amount of disease, obviously, not disease, dis-ease. I know that sounded like disease, but that wasn't love. Most people on this planet don't even know what love truly is until they learn to love themselves, until they take the journey back into the sun. They can never find love. Therefore, they can never project love. And so all of this love sucks. Yeah, it can feel that way for a while. And I can attest to that. I've been on my own journey and I know how much that pain can last and for how long it can last. It can last for as long as you allow yourself to suffer in that pain. And so when we're reflecting on how our experiences have caused us to feel this, um, this, this feeling here of love sucks, we have to also understand that that wasn't even love. And the only genuine love that exists is the love that you feel for yourself, which is then reflected in your environment. And so you cannot feel loved and you cannot love until you fully love yourself. And that means letting go of the pain and the hurt eventually. I'm not saying you have to do that now, it's where you are on your journey, right? But in time, through a bunch of lessons, you eventually learn to not forget, because that's part of the lesson that you never repeat this lesson again, but to heal it, to forgive yourself, to forgive others, not for them, not for their sake, but for you. And that's when true love enters your heart, right? This is when you develop the fullest capacity of the love that exists, that because you allow your heart to let go of the burdens and you allow that energy and the divine love to enter you at that moment, each and every time. And so this love sucks is a block. It's a block to your abundance. It is a block to receiving, and it blocks you from healthy relationships. And so if you're in this position of love sucks, this is a block that you're definitely going to want to work on and clear by applying forgiveness. Or for some of you, you may be just starting a journey or maybe halfway through your journey and you still have some resentments and bitterness and things that need to be resolved. Or maybe for some of you, this is more about um, childhood stuff that has happened, right? That you still need to examine and work through, do your shadow work and forgive. And so this will block you from receiving abundance. This will block you from ever experiencing love. And it takes a lot to overcome this part. I know. I in my journey, this part was the part that I got stuck on for the longest time because it hurts. And it hurts so bad because you're never meant to experience it again, right? But you have to be willing to do the work to let go, and you may not be ready, and that's okay. But just understand that this is a block for you at this time, and it can be for as long as you allow it to be, right? We're the only ones in charge of whether we allow ourselves to suffer. And when we realize that we're actually the ones causing our own suffering, then that's when real change starts to begin. that we're in control of whether or not we want to suffer. And it might be a journey. It might take a while to get from point A to point B, but it's well worth the journey and the investment in time to get to the place where you're completely liberated. And I don't just mean from a situation, but I mean from everything. And you get to focus on whatever it is that makes you happy. That's an amazing thing. So love sucks. That is definitely a block for some of you. I'm going to speed it up because I'm taking a while here now. Not talking. So you are communicating your needs clearly. You need to discuss how you feel. So if we're dealing with a contract or something like that, maybe you're working with somebody who who you can't negotiate with. Maybe you're working with somebody who's difficult to negotiate with or who has to be right, somebody very prideful, somebody who's got a huge ego, somebody who, um, you know, does not want, always has to win. That's the way. That's the way it's coming through. Always has to win. If you're dealing with that situation, you can expect it to take a little while longer. However, do understand that the universe is working behind the scenes to help bring these situations to an end. And so, if you're dealing with legal matters in a separation, there is help available, there are options, and there is divine support for the situation. And so, there may be a need to clearly communicate what it is that you want from an authentic space. And the thing about these journeys is that sometimes when we start on our journey, we think we want one thing, and then by the time we get, a year and a half, 2 years later, our objective has completely changed because we've completely changed. So there may be a need to communicate more clearly with others um, what it is that we truly want from the results of the situation ending, or maybe it's with a friend or a partner or somebody at work. And for others of you, it's with the universe. Because I did pick up immediately when this card came out that for some of you, the universe is unclear which direction you want to go in. And you're needing to pick and focus your energy more into what it is that you truly are aligned with, which is why, it's important to analyze which of these paths is going to bring you to where you think you want to be. I mean, again, that can change 2 years later. You might have that manifestation show up and you might go, yeah, I don't actually really like this. Let me unmanifest this and now I'm going to remanifest this. So, for some of you, the universe wants to know what it is that you truly are after. So, for some of you, you've been given a title. You've gone through the journey. You've been given a title, and the universe is really saying, like, there's a lot of options. You could do any of them, but which of them is going to make you the happiest? And that's the one you should pursue. But you need to be clear with your intentions and your communication and your thoughts towards the universe about what it is that you want and not be flip floppy between all of them, but to really get serious and align yourself with that specific thing. Okay. And then we've got fear of touch. So, anybody who's been in a situation where they have been physically hurt, or even emotionally or mentally hurt by another may have this. And there's obviously the other form, um, you know, we won't get into that one, but there is another way where you can be physically hurt, right? So that can develop as a fear of touch or a fear of intimacy, right? A fear of getting too close to somebody. So this is obviously causing some blocks. So you may want to be doing some work um, in your sacral chakra and your root chakra, clearing the blocks that are there, clearing the beliefs that are in there due to whatever significant traumas you've experienced in your timeline. And start working with yourself, your inner child, if it happened anytime in your childhood. And for those of you, and childhood goes up to, 18, let's say. For those of you who experience these things in both childhood and adulthood, then you would address, work with the past versions of yourself, and bring healing to the situations, bring healing to the past versions of yourself. And depending on where you are on your journey at the beginning or later, if you're in the beginning, that looks more like a lot of work, just self-soothing yourself, rubbing your arms and hugging yourself and crying and journaling and going deep within the experiences to first open your root chakra, because damages in childhood can close up your chakras so they're dysfunctional forever until you start to relieve the burdens of them, right? And so you may, if you're dealing with things that are really difficult to deal with, I don't suggest necessarily that everybody does it on their own. Not everybody has that strength. So if you need support, please reach out for support. Please reach out for um, help in dealing or processing those emotions, or those memories in a way that's going to be best for you. Like somatic therapy is very helpful because it's stored. These things are stored, especially with fear of touch, stored in the body. Again, they're stored in your chakras, and they're also stored around certain organs and certain parts of your body, depending on what it was that you experienced. And so, working in somatic therapy, working with EDMR, I think it's called, where you move your eyes while talking about certain situations, or even just a counselor, whatever it is that you need. Um, there is help available, right? So it's time to start working with, even if you're not ready to explore those deeper parts, but you want to start working on perhaps your belief systems. What beliefs were resulted from the experiences that you had that made you feel like it is unsafe to be um, touched or to have contact, say with the opposite sex or say with anybody. These are belief systems that are blocking you from receiving, and from moving forward on your path right now. Okay. Then we've got being needy. So, so for some of you, there may be, um, let me just, yeah, so for some of you, this may be like codependency. This may be unhealed parts of yourself, again in childhood, if it's codependency. There may be parts of you that are not being looked at. And so there may be a reliance on others that is unhealthy or a toxic pattern. And this could be reliance on, the need to talk to people or friends, or, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but when it becomes unhealthy, like, here's how you know is if those people were out of your life suddenly, how would you feel? How do you think you would feel? Because a lot of people who don't recognize that they have codependency would say, "We'll be fine with that." But when push comes to shove, they might not be. And so then that's when all of the traits start to pop up, and you're like, "Oh, shoot, what is all this? Why do I feel triggered? Why do I feel like I need to fill this void or fill this space, right?" So for some of you, this is codependency. For others of you, this is to do with attachment styles. So if you have an insecure attachment style, say anxious attachment or disorganized attachment, which would also be named fearful attachment, then you would be more needy or reliant on other people. You'd be more clingy to other people, right? And so this is causing blockages for you at this time as well. So this may be one of the things that you're going to want to look at is, how is it that you are relying on other people or relationships or things to to give you validation, to make you feel good, or even to tell you who you are, right? We've got losing yourself here. So these are things to consider going forward, and parts of yourself that you're going to want to investigate. And then we've got Love's the answer. Love won't solve your problems. You need to work on being independent. Now, I didn't get that from this. For some of you, yes, because for some of you, you're still in the middle of like, love sucks, right? You're still very wounded and hurt by the situation. And for others of you, you haven't even left the situation yet. So, um, hmm, it's important to keep that in the back of your mind that love won't solve your problems in the sense of through another person, right? This being needy card is how we get validation from the world and the people and the environments that we place ourselves in, where we should be giving that to ourselves. And so we shouldn't be looking for love in all the wrong places because we've already done that, right? We've done that. We've been there, done that. Now it's time to move on. Time for a different story. And so in this sense, looking for love in a place or within another person is pointless unless you found it within yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting broken, skewed versions of love, which aren't love. And then you'll keep feeling this love sucks, right? So, but when I got this originally, the stream that did come through was for those of you who have been on this journey, who are letting go, who are healing and forgiving, and that's where you're at already, or you're on the verge of that. Love may be actually needing to be looked at, right? Like which parts of me um, would I want? No, not which part. That's not right. How are you saying that, Spirit? Hold on a second. Ah, identifying where you struggled with love in the past and how you showed up in these relationships, and understanding what you're working on, but also understanding what you truly value, what you're going to tolerate, what you're not, like where there's leeway, where you're willing to work with somebody, where you're absolutely not going to tolerate something, right? Because now you have boundaries and you have healthy expectations, and you love yourself enough to know when to call it quits, and that's a part of learning discernment, is that you don't just overstay in something toxic because you understand your worth by the end of this journey, right? You're like, well, it's not even the end, but along this journey, you start to develop self-worth and you're like, nah, even at the first glimpse, or you give somebody that one opportunity, and you have to know where your line is, and you have to enforce that. It's nobody else's job to enforce your boundaries. That's your job, your responsibility. So, for those of you who have love on the horizon, Spirit's really asking you to assess what you're still clinging onto that may cause blocks, or may cause regression if you were to meet your higher level soulmate today. So, which parts of you are still hung up on, or maybe not practiced, or maybe you're unsure about, or maybe you're not clear on which parts of those would come in if you were to meet that person today, would come into the relationship and taint it, or perhaps make it go south. Because just as you expect your higher level soulmate to show up in that energy, you need to show up in that energy too. And by knowing who you are, and by knowing what you are willing to tolerate, what you're not, what your value system is, um, by knowing yourself, then you can teach them how to treat you, right? And that's what this is all about. It's like people don't know how to treat you. You you inform them on how they get to treat you because you allow, or you don't. You allow them to treat you a certain way, or you don't. And this is what determines your idea of who is healthy and who is not, too, because without that information and the experience that you have, you would never be able to you would never be able to know the difference between what a healthy person looks like, and healthy love and healthy relationship and reciprocation looks like, without that knowledge base, right? And so that's part of this lesson is for those of you moving into this, you need to be sure on what you're going to show up in, what kind of energy, and who are you? And do you know? Or are you going to allow something to slip by that maybe you don't like? And then if it does, that's okay because this might be new for both of you. Then how are you going to deal with it? How are you prepared to deal with it in a healthy way? Communication might be one of those things, right? Learning how to effectively communicate, not running away, not avoiding. So, and then we have soulmate only. You have many soulmates who would be great for you. There's not just one. Yeah, and that is why I got this first stream of consciousness because these cards kind of came out one after the other next to each other. So, um, and that's something to know for all of you. We all have like each single person that we have been with, regardless of the if the relationship was platonic, romantic, or whether it was long term, short term, whether it was healthy or unhealthy. Those are all soulmates, all of them. They all agreed to come into our lives in order to affect change within our lives so that we could learn these lessons and vice versa. You agreed the same before coming into this realm, before coming into your life, you know, between family members, between friends, experiences, and relationships. And so that does not mean that all soulmates are healthy. No, there is a difference between a karmic soulmate. They're the lessons. They're like the big monumental lessons in your life that help you get to this point. And then once you take the journey and you do all the work, then you get your high level soulmate, right? And so sometimes high level soulmates can come into your life, but then they're not at the same level as you. And so then you're not a match and suddenly they can disappear. And for some of you, I've heard that this has happened. Like people will come into your life and you think it's all like amazing and you think that you're resonating, and then all of a sudden they just ghost or disappear, right? And that is because one of you maybe operating at a different frequency or at a different stage, and the other is not ready, and they sense your energy, or vice versa. And they sense your energy of hesitance or maybe being further ahead. And without even consciously being aware of it, they'll separate from you and something will happen, like being ghosted, right? And so don't be discouraged by that because even if they don't meet you where you're at, which, you know, that's going to be a requirement for you going forward, at least it should be going forward in love, that somebody meets you at least where you at or where you're at, or at least is on that journey and getting close to where you're at so that you're not ever lowering your expectations, right? They need to be resonating with you. You're not supposed to be lowering your expectations in any way, shape, or form of what you expect and how you expect to be treated. So if somebody is showing up like that and then they just disappear, it's for good reason, and they may never come back. And if that's the case, let them ghost. I mean, that's actually what do they say? Rejection is your protection, right? So the universe won't allow it to happen. Once you're on your journey and you're staying on your journey and you're committed to your journey, the universe isn't going to allow that to happen. And so often something will happen where they may misinterpret something or misfeel something or vice versa. And then you guys are not allowed to be together. Something will happen that will change a perspective or the energy on the situation. And so essentially, what happens then is that another high level soulmate who's either further along or, um, at your level at the very least will be aligned for you behind the scenes. That's what your spirit guides and your holy ancestors are all doing behind the scenes. They're aligning all of these different interactions, all of the different lessons, all of the different tests, all of the different people who come in to test to see whether you have graduated from these things, from these old paradigms, from whether or not you're firm on your boundaries or not, whether or not you're going to allow toxic people or chaotic people into your life or not. You know, they're working behind the scenes to make that happen for you. So um, be prepared that a soulmate for some of you is aligned. A high level soulmate is aligned for some of you. And for others of you, do understand that, you know, each individual person has had many different soulmates and has many aligned, and that could be karmic or high level soulmates, but it's going to be up to you to decide what you're worth, you know, what you value and what you're willing to take on, even in another human being at this point or not. And that's really up to you, right? All right. I'm just going to clear this because I feel like I'm getting a little bit plugged up. Okay, nice thing about my camera is it cuts it out. So for those who were wearing headphones, that's not going to kill your ears. Okay, let's see here. Spirit, which deck? Yeah, okay. Okay, so what will benefit the viewer at this time, please, Holy Spirit? Okay, so we've got unfolding lesson and sacred knowledge. I don't know why I'm holding it like that. Yeah, so again, like this is a journey, right? And the sun's coming to illuminate the lesson. And you have to make some decisions on which direction to go in, or how to proceed, or which blocks you might be needing to bring this illumination to in order for you to proceed on your journey, or in order for you to find success, or to be happy with how things end, or the opportunities or the pathways that are opening up for you. But you know, unfolding lesson and sacred knowledge, that really tells me that there is embedded information in this experience of what you're going through right now, that is being brought to the surface. Again, this energy of the sun has been coming in to bring up to your awareness things that need to be looked at, right? And the lessons that need to be learned from these situations. And this is where this appreciation is coming from, right? Is looking back not only at how far we've come, but the specific things that we've learned. And maybe for some of you, you're still learning some lessons, like you're in the middle of learning a big, valuable lesson before you get to past this grade essentially and get moved up to the next grade. And it's really important to really view this journey, the process in all of your life as sacred. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. It's all been sacred. Because if you've been with me a while, then you already know, you know, I say on this channel, like, you can be book smart and you can be well read and you can understand everything there is to know about, say, spirituality. Or you could be the person who just has experience, right? Just has experience, but doesn't understand what it all means. And neither of those is going to actually advance you. True wisdom comes from having sacred knowledge, having, you know, like understanding what it's all about, and having the experience and integrating the two together. That's what wisdom is. So you cannot have wisdom without having both. You cannot have wisdom without having experience and knowledge applied together. Wisdom does not exist otherwise. So this is a part of the lesson, is understanding how sacred this journey is from the very beginning of our lives, and the lessons that we are learning or that continue to unfold, and how sacred that is to actually be able to see it, understand it, and to have the experience to back it up. But that experience also comes in the form of us taking action in our own lives, right? It's not just about witnessing, because that would just be half the story again. It's about integrating the two, taking action based on the knowledge that you have and the lessons you've learned, and making changes that are more in alignment. And so I guess Spirit is just really hammering home this idea of like, you, viewer, need to take action based on all of the information that you have and that you're gathering, and the experiences that you have. If love does not exist in a certain place or in a certain relationship, or in even within yourself, then you're beating a dead horse and wasting your time, right? Whereas if you see that and you understand that and you make a choice to change that, then you're allowing the lesson to unfold. You're acknowledging your part in it, and you're taking back your power to some degree also acknowledging that you actually have power in every situation to change, despite what might be said or done on the outside in the 3D world. It's you who has the power to change. Okay? Anything else that will benefit the viewer at this time? Hmm. You are stardust. Yeah, this is really about, remembering where you came from. If you are created in the image of Source, God, the universe, whatever you like to call as your creator, if you were created from stardust and you were created from that image, then once you learn to find empowerment, once you realize just how powerful you are as a spiritual being, as a creator in your own life, that changes the whole game. And it takes a long journey, and that's okay. But they want you to remember your power in this situation, regardless of where you are, that you're the one who gets to command your future. That you are the one who gets to command your body, command your thoughts, command your environments. And I don't mean in a controlling way, but I mean in what you manifest. And without you fully taking back your power step by step by step and integrating all aspects of you, you will never be able to harness this all. You can't hold that much light, right? From top to bottom. These are all frequencies coming through you. And you can't hold all of that space within you if you have blocks still blocking you. And so remember who you are is really what this is telling you. Like, remember your immense strength. Remember your power. Your ancestors came through with that. Remember your power. Who you think you are in this lifetime is not who you have been and are not. You are not in the other realm. So everybody who is supporting you is, they're encouraging you, but sometimes they give a little like a little laugh here and there, because they say, if you just remembered who you were, you would never allow any of these things to be an issue for you, because you would fully understand your immense power and strength in these situations and in this life even. If you understood the capacity of your ability to create, you would never, this would never be a thing. That's what I heard. Okay, so you're being asked to really evaluate that, to take it in, to learn what that means for you, depending on where you are on your path. And that's going to change and evolve and grow along your journey. And it's going to mean something different for each of you along different phases of your journey. But what does it mean to you right now? What does that look like? Okay, so let's see here. Which deck now? I think we're going to go get some final advice, and then I'm going to close it off with some affirmation cards. I'm going to use the badass affirmation. So if you do not like swears, then you might want to tune out before I do that, because it's pretty much every card has a swear on it. Or if you have little ones in your environment, then you may want to pause the video and come back later for those affirmations, or mute it, or put headphones on. I'll leave that up to you, up to your discretion. We've got two cards here. Let's just get one, okay, Spirit? Final advice for the viewer, please. Or, sorry, yeah, final advice for the viewer, please. Pardon me. Cute. Oh, my tummy just growled. Arr, feed me. I'm hungry. Okay, so we've got the Rainmaker. Oh, beautiful card. Number 42. I will read out the numbers of the cards too. I forgot to do that in the last one. So some of you may be 42, or you may have special dates or birthdays on certain dates, or they may resonate with specific months. So we've got 1, 2, oh no way, 1 and 2, 15, 26, and 42 on the table. So if any of those resonate with any of you for anything, then they may be special, or they may be extra confirmations for you. Now, if they don't resonate for you, that does not mean that the message is not for you. It is just extra confirmation to pay special attention to certain messages as they come through. Okay. So the essence. The Rainmaker is the master of manifestation who can call on the elements of nature to serve the greater good. When the power to co-create is used with integrity, great beauty and benefit flow to all. When this power is used for personal gain only, everyone suffers. When the earth is parched, the Rainmaker calls the waters from the heavens, and all that is dormant in the fields and in people's hearts spring to life again. So, the advice here is essentially make sure that whatever path you are choosing is based out of self-love, not self-gratification, and based out of, um, for those of you who are leaving a toxic situation, this is about protecting yourself, loving yourself enough to protect yourself. For others of you, this is about your journey and what to do or which path to get onto. And so money might be at the forefront of your mind, and Spirit is really advising you to eliminate the whole money aspect and how to make money from your gifts or from your talents or from the path that you choose, and instead focus on what value can you offer to the world with your gifts and abilities. So whatever it is for you, it may not be business, it may be other things, but be sure that you are taking the focus off of anything for personal gain, and instead putting your focus on how you can serve humanity, how you can benefit each other, how you can add value to the world. How does the work that you do contribute to the world? If you make some money, do you share that wealth? Like if you make wealth, are you sharing that wealth with the rest of the world? Are you contributing to maybe like the food bank or an organization that is near and dear to your heart? You know, this whole path is about learning how to not only receive abundance, but how to give abundance in return. And it's not just take, 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 like in the 3D world conditioning that we've been raised in. It's about how we also share that with others and how we view that. So this may be for some of you this pattern or this belief system that does need to be looked at as well. That may be causing you blockages because it puts you in a state of lack when you're only focusing on yourself or your end results, right? But how instead does that benefit all? Now, the invitation. The Rainmaker is calling you to create something new from the elements that are already in your life. Be sure you work with what is and not with what might be or could have been. The seeds that have been silently germinating in your heart will burst forth ready for the sunlight. Do not hold back. Put all your chips on the next roll of the divine dice. The medicine. Recognize how you are co creating your world. Nothing is happening out there without your involvement. Remember that the world is only mirroring back to you the condition of your love and your intent. So change these within before you take any action. Do not take life personally. Yeah, I think that sums up a lot of what we were already talking about in the reading. So thank you so much for that, Holy Spirit. Let's get our affirmation cards. This is your cue if, swearing's not for you or you're not in an environment where that's conducive for others to pause it now. Yep. Okay, did you want me to take all four of these? Yeah. Oh, okay. That was fast. Okay. Oh, two of these actually don't have a swear. Okay, so the first one is some women fear the fire. Some women simply become it. Absolutely. And now you can change woman to man. There is no gender in that. I'm just reading what the card says. Feel free to pause these and write them down as your own personal affirmations for the day. The next one is they only talk shit because they envy your drive. Keep giving them reasons. That's right. People are going to talk shit regardless. All right. I will let go of the shit that doesn't serve me. Say it, sister. Say it, brother. I just got goosebumps all over. Woo. Yeah, and really, I mean, you're being asked to let go or examine and let go of some of these blocks, some of the hostility that you feel towards another person, perhaps, or about the process taking a while. Um, you know, it's time to let shit go. This one says, I am my own cheerleader. And don't forget, you're not the only one cheerleading you, even if you're alone. Okay, you might feel that way sometimes, but you're not. Your guides, your holy ancestors, your Holy Spirit team, spirit guides, they all cheer you on at all times. So, okay, that's your reading for today. Hopefully, this resonated or found you well today, served you in some capacity. Super grateful for you to be here. If you did enjoy the reading, please give it a thumbs up. That does certainly help my algorithm to reach other people as well, grow the channel. And if you want to leave a comment, feel free. It does sometimes, help me to channel more clearly for each individual, but I do pick up on your energy regardless because this energy exchange is about contribution. So the fact that you are subscribed or that you are part of this channel, checking into the channel, it does contribute to your energy. But if you want more energy being channeled your way, then feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Yeah, join our beautiful collective here of high vibing, awesome ladies and gents, or gender neutral here, really, but whatever you identify as. Join our beautiful community of light, and thank you for being here. I will see you in the next video. Typically, I shoot on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. However, next week there will be a little bit of a shift because I'm making a shift in my life. So next week I will be putting out a video on Wednesday instead of Tuesday because I need these next 3 days to accomplish what I'm going to do. But I will be back on Wednesday, okay? I love you all so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Take care till then.